reassure him. You know, she had her getaway drivers get lined up in place. She had the gunners get lined up in place. There was pretty much no chance, even if he was to take out maybe one or two from the inside. You know, there was two on the outside, but they also had people coming in, like the getaway drivers, to come pick them up that were ready to gun him down if something happened to the shooters.
Everybody know for a fact you can't put yourself out there, but a lot of people speculate, and a lot of guys are saying that PRE did it. PRE ain't do it. They had other ops. Everybody know that Yo Gotti, it was a lot of people who didn't like Yo Gotti. Dude, that light-skinned dude, I forgot his name. I forgot dude's name. What's dude's name? The dude, he didn't like Yo Gotti. He didn't like Big Jook. He felt that Yo Gotti just instantly hopped right in the studio and was just, you feel me, making songs, acting like he been in the street when he was rapping about Jook life.
Well, the Makita's Cookie owners, we're trying to question them right now to, you know, get justice for Young Dolph and get the justice for Big Jook, because they know something about Big Jook's killing as well, from what we know from certain people that we question from the streets in certain corners of, you know, the streets in the slums and stuff. And we came to find out some inside information. You know, as we suspected, they were involved in Young Dolph's killing. They didn't want to give us any footage. They said the footage was lost. We were questioning how the footage was lost, and we come to find out that they actually gave the footage to get burned to Black Youngsta, one of Black Youngsta's men that brought it to Black Youngsta, and Black Youngsta shortly burned it after making a video and sending it out to his enemy at the time.
That's probably why he went to the gravesite and did a music video.
Fingerprints on both scenes and surveillance footage from the killing of Big Jook. You know, Straight Drop made a call to Govan, and Straight Drop is electronic monitoring, and is on an electronic monitoring device, and they were able to retrieve the audio from the ankle monitor. And the county called from Straight Drop, and Straight Drop mentioned Glorilla in his call. So is Glorilla really the key to CEO Jizzle on the murder attempt charges?
Is she like the key to his, like what happened to him?
Yes.
I feel that Glorilla was playing her role. I feel that Glorilla, the side, she liked it what Young Dolph was doing, but she also liked it what Yo Gotti was doing, because Yo Gotti been like in the game longer than Dolph. He been in the game for a long time. R.I.P. Young Dolph, because regardless of what went on, it's like you can't be in the middle. You can't be on his side then go over there to CMG.
I just think you're going to switch sides just that easy. Like you're going to be like, I'm on the Alliance and now I'm going to the Horde or something.
Yeah, you can't do that. Like in the streets, you can't. That's called playing both sides. So to answer to your question, I think if Glorilla speak up, she'll be able to tell everybody what really happened.
Okay. And so my next question to you is, what does Big Jook's death mean for the Cornelius Smith trial for his plea deal?
See, Big Jook, I think they gonna eventually they gonna have to throw something out, because Big Jook, he was a key part in this. He was the one who gave the money to Govan, and Govan basically gave Makita Raven them and everybody else the money. Straight Drop, Cornelius Smith, and whoever else was at the scene. So the answer to your question is, I actually think that they gonna really go out, once they go to court, they gonna speak upon Big Jook's passing, but then they gonna eventually say that, like, this was the key person, like this is the key ideal thing, like in this whole case. Big Jook, he was right there across the street in a $500,000 truck.
Okay. That's okay. And so on the evidence that, you know, we're talking about with this whole scenario that's going on that came out on the ties to Big Jook directly to make Dash, what do you have to say about that?
See, Damon Dash, he told the whole plot of what's going on. He told that it was a setup. They got down on Young Dolph. He said that they basically like they had Yo Gotti to instantly send his boys out there, but he ended up making a mistake by sending his brother out there, and it led to his demise. And it's like, basically, Big Jook, he should have never put himself in this situation. A lot of people think that Big Jook was still smart like he used to be back in the days. This ain't back in the days.
And he was just being sloppy, you think, huh?
Yeah, I think he was being sloppy because this ain't the 80s. You can't sit at no crime scene and sit right there and look at something happen knowing that you in tour with him, knowing that you put 40K on a comedian, his friend.
I'm just thinking it's like some Scarface and you can just drive off into
and
the
you
sunset.
can just drive off
something.
and it'll never come back on you.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense. I could see that point that you're making about all that too right there. And so my other question to you is on the murder of Yo Gotti's big brother Jook, you know, the play that they made, can you tell me, like, why did you think it was so sloppy, like, into detail on that?
I think it was sloppy because, first off, you got the same people from the same hood Young Dolph be in the same car that they all on Instagram with, taking pictures. You can see them in the same car pull up. You think Young Dolph ain't know what that car, who was in that car? Young Dolph knew who the hell was in that car, man. Young Dolph knew exactly who was in that car, man. At the end of the day, we know for a fact that this sad that this had to happen, but when you really look at it, they messed up. It was real messy because you did it at a cookie shop in the hood. Everybody was outside. If you really look at it, they followed him. You think Young Dolph ain't see them following him and he know he into it with all type of people? Come on now.
And there's no way that he couldn't have not had an idea of potentially who was coming after him during the time.
He saw the car kept circling the block. These the same people who he actually was cool with a few of the Double R, AOB, like.
And what's your thoughts on what Raven did? Not to cut you off, but what's your thoughts on how Raven, you know, betrayed him during the phone call, and she tried to soothe him and try to like throw his intentions off, even though he had that gut feeling and he was looking out the window and he was trying to see the driver and see exactly what was going on.
I actually think that Raven, she distracted Young Dolph because she talked to him more than one time that day. She knew he was about to come. She just told him to promote it when he was at the cookie shop the other day, and she gave him them cookies in his hand, and that black truck rolled past.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was inevitable. Like, at the end of the day, we know that the way that they get down, you can't backdoor nobody, man. The backdoor needs to stop. You got to get the bag and move out the hood. Raven, she played a big role in this. The way that she did this, she did it because she wanted the money. She knew Young Dolph was going to come because she knew how good of a person Young Dolph was.
Mm-hmm.
If Young Dolph wasn't a person who was reliable and who basically come slide up exactly when he say, knowing that he's famous, come on now, she got him right where she wanted him. She knew she was gonna get paid. This is why the GoFundMe money was spent. Lamigo was in the passenger seat. Lamigo survived everything that was going on. They said that dude them pull up. Next thing you know, dude hanging out the window. He started blowing. He let off like 8 shots, and that's when the car instantly sped out of control. One of the tires busted. I want y'all to really look at this. This is sad. That's crazy as hell.
And, you know, that's what's going on. Raven, you know, she wanted to keep things, like I said, on the wrap. She didn't want to let this information get out, you know, and when they cut off the car at the front, they actually, how they cut it off was they went sideways in front of it, so the car kind of T-boned them. You know, the gunner was shooting out the window at him. You know, he tried to back up into reverse, but they busted out one of his wheels and he kind of sped out of control. And MPD responded quicker than they did with Big Jook and Young Dolph's murder. And the reason for that is because of all the that have been happening in Memphis streets and his connections and ties to Raven and CMG. You know, Raven's fingerprints, they were on the desk of the computer and on the seat of the getaway driver's car. she orchestrated the death and the of young Dolph because
Wait. So you mean to tell me Raven went around the city all this time acting like she ain't had shit to do with it, but whole time she played a part in what happened with young Dolph? Tell me a little more, man.
Absolutely. Raven was in to deep ties and connections with Gotti. During the time she was talking with young Dolph, that's what we came to find out through investigation. But she was also playing both sides, remember, of CMG and PRE. She was also three-waying with Black Youngster at the time, too.
Wait, when was she three-waying Black Youngster? They ain't say shit about that.
They wanted to keep it on wraps. Raven, she was putting fake propaganda out there. She was trying to cover up her tracks, but we did more investigation. We had people look through her cellular data. Detectives.
I saw a video on YouTube. I don't mean to cut you off, but I saw a video on YouTube where they said they released the whole, like, the phone records and all this. Like, hey, man, if they releasing phone records, that means they got footage from off the little light post that's right there. What all this went down at? Right there at the red, yellow, and green stoplight.
Yes,
they got
absolutely.
the thing on top of it. It's crazy what happened with Black Youngster cousin, but I want y'all to really pay close attention. They said that the dudes, the way that they did it, they got in front of Black Youngster cousin. They went around his car, got in front of him. Then they turned around and aimed it at the window. Once they put the gun at the window, that's when Black Youngster cousin, they already knew for a fact they could hit Black Youngster cousin up, all up in here.
Somebody got out of the car and started into the guy and his vehicle. They ran back into the car and then they just drove off around the corner.
So where did Black Youngster artist Lil Migo go? Like, did they rush? Like, did he get hit any times?
Lil Migo had a bulletproof vest on at the time. He got hit twice, but his bulletproof vest was the thing that saved him. He was bruised up, but no gunshot wounds.
Damn.
That's what saved him right there. He was lucky that nothing hit him in his neck or anything above, because remember, the vest only covers your chest, so his arms were still liable to get hit, his legs, his head, but he was also in a bulletproof vehicle too during the time. That's the reason when they tried to T-bone him, they couldn't really move his vehicle because his vehicle was bulletproof and it was armored up.
Wait, was the windows bulletproof?
Yes, the windows.
Because they hit him up all up in his chest.
Yes, absolutely, the windows were bulletproof. And then Lil Migos also
so that means that they had to get him outside of the car.
Well, and that's the thing, Lil Migos used people as human shields in his car. He had the driver taking the bullets if anything was to get in,
Did they have a door? Wait, did they pull after they sped out of control, after they hit up the vehicle? I know that if you got a bulletproof car, as soon as them bullets hit the front of the window, that shit it's gonna instantly make it to where you can't see. It's gonna be blurry because it's gonna shatter all the glass. When they pulled over, what happened? They tried to hop out and run?
Yeah, absolutely. They had another getaway vehicle down the alleyway that was right next, connected to the building. So all they had to do was run about 10 meters. They were already into their new getaway vehicle.
Damn.
That vehicle was just a bait. It was just a bait and switch. So they did their dirty deed. They dropped the guns in the area. The only problem was that the guns weren't supposed to be dropped over there. They were supposed to be thrown away in an ocean somewhere. But they accidentally dropped the guns right there because they were in such a rush. One of them that was part of the getaway, that was for the bait for Lil Migos, actually got shot. They had to carry him down the alleyway. And, he's screaming while, us were coming to investigate. And also, his rival is coming after him too to try to blast him down the alleyway.
Damn, that's crazy because... Hey, RP Young Dolph, regardless of what's going on, I want everybody to drop them dolphins down in the comments. Drop them 999s down in the comment section. Let me know if you're a fan of Young Dolph. This crazy because Memphis heating up. Regardless of what happened, they said Lil Migo, Black Youngster, and Big Jook was the same people who was involved with this 40K that was put on Grove Hero Head. This crazy as hell.
Yep, and then, going on with this, that when Raven's fingerprints were on the desk of the computer and on the seat of the getaway driver's car, saying that we're talking about earlier, how she orchestrated the death of young Dolph because of Yo Gotti and CMG. They paid her on a deal of over $250,000. And the greed got to Raven, even though young Dolph helped her and her family through financial hardships. And that's the terrible thing, that happened in all this whole situation of, young Dolph was trying to look out for his friends, his family, his community.
I don't blame him.
The condolences, my heart goes out for the guy because I listened to some of his music, and young Dolph was a young artist. He was upcoming, and that's the sad thing. We have a lot of these young upcoming artists that are just getting killed in such terrible and awful ways when that should have never happened.
But all this is street beef. This ain't nothing but street beef. Everything that's going on, they know for a fact that they try to keep it in the street. Like, I don't blame them, but at the same time, you gotta really look at it. When you lose somebody who big like Young Dolph, like, crazy off of that.
Well, it's the jealousy and the greed, even if someone's trying to do right by you, these people, they plot in their minds that, how does he have all this money? How does he or she? And
that's some jealous ass shit though, low key.
And that's the thing though, but people can't seem to be on each other's side. They can't root for that person saying, hey, you did good. Instead, they want a piece of their pie, even though they didn't do anything to earn it. They just want to take it the easy way, whether it's hurting the person, stealing from the person, or being deceitful, and that person could give their all to them, and then that's their wrongdoing. That's their downfall right there.
That's why I always tell it's the same way Young Dolph got that money, he stayed in the hood. Big Jook, he had that money, he was coming back and forth to the hood. He f***ed up because he put himself in a situation that led him to end up like he got backdoored by his own people. They said that it was an inside man, and I always tell people, when you get the bag, move out the hood. Regardless of what's going on, you really got to pay close attention to the key facts in this, because the way that they did this shit, it all goes to show that Big Jook knew that he was finna die, because they already, Moneybag Yo already responded to his text message. He told them, you can't even trust the people in your family.
And, that's the thing. Raven also did this. It was initially, the payment was supposed to be for $250,000, but she got a little too greedy. And, we found out through more investigations, and even she had a hidden stash of over $500,000 in her household, in her basement.
That's why she probably stopped working. That's why 901 Trigger Trade, that's why he been off the scene for a minute, and they said 901 Trigger Trade was right across the street.
Yep, and CMG, and they were paying her more at the time to pretty much, keep continuing on doing the bad deeds. She was involved in Big Jook's killing, and they offered her another $250,000 plus a private house that she can have in the Bahamas right now. A lot of
that
people,
shit crazy, because they said Yo Gotti up in, he be going back and forth to Bali, out there with old girl Daddy.
Yes.
Old girl that he messed with, Daddy. What's her name?
Angela Simmons.
Yeah.
And so, that's the thing with Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti's facing problems with Angela Simmons because, him and Raven were
Is they ass still together?
Yeah.
I done saw so much on the internet where saying all type of stuff. They saying they done broke up. She done left them all. Like, come on, man.
Well, Angela Simmons is heartbroken. She trusted this guy as to be her husband, her lover and stuff, and she's been trying to give him chances, but Yo Gotti, he has a thing with Raven, and it has to do with the blood money from Young Dolph, and the setup and everything that they had planned in retaliation. But karma comes back on people. And
it does. Like, when you really pay attention to it, it do come back on you, regardless of what you did. The shit always come back 10 times.
Absolutely, and Raven, she thought she could get out of this, like, just clean, nothing was going to happen to her. She wasn't going to get caught. But once you get a little too greedy and you don't pull out the game, like you said, you get caught up in it. And you think that you're getting out of it, but you're still in the game.